FC West, what's going on? What's happening in the building, man? We are here. The Wild Wild West podcast is back. Wednesday nights, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us all on the MHRT Network, Captain Jack Rackham's Podcast Network, Lockdown Defense Podcast Network. Like, comment, subscribe to all those channels if you have not done so already. We are back. Coming off the heels of an epic draft, 2023 draft is in the books, and we are here to review exactly what went on with his team in the AFC West. Richie Richey will be in a moment to give his Broncos breakdown. He's having a little technical difficulties over there. You know, growing pains, new house, you know, things change and rearrange, but he'll be back. So we got Captain Jack Rackham in the building, fresh off of jet lag and being at the draft. Did anybody see Captain Jack cheering in the Raiders section at the NFL draft? I know I did. Oh,
yeah, for Michael Mayer.
Yeah, it was Michael Mayer's pick, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was Mayer's pick. You know,
I said to my guy, I was like, we got to watch. I bet we'll see Captain Jack here. And sure as shit, there he was.
Right.
Right to him.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah, it was. They were right up on you, too. I feel like you was the only one on camera, really.
There was a few people.
Did somebody send you a shot of that? Did you get a copy of that photo?
I got about 50.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, I got stills. I got the video. And what I didn't realize, and I didn't realize until yesterday, is that it was on the same shot was on the NFL Network too.
Oh,
so because I know it was on ESPN because I saw the thing and the guy said, "Oh yeah, Raider Nation is very excited about blah 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 blah." Blah. But then my buddy sent me the same video from NFL Network.
And the same still.
No, not still. The video.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, or maybe the NFL Network bogarted the video from ESPN.
You know what's tight too is if Michael Mayer pans out, you're going to be tied to his highlight tapes for the future, forever.
Every time they show us
how they show his draft announcement.
There you
Captain
go.
Jack.
There he is.
Boom.
Well, here's the thing, and I was talking to Callie Mark about it. You guys don't know who Callie Mark is? Callie Mark is the guy that did the meme for the Raiders when we picked Cleve Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he was like the meme. You know, wait, did you see that? It was like,
right.
You know, that guy, that was Callie Mark. And I said, dude, at least on this draft, there is no crying Jordans. There's no Callie Mark, what the meme going on. It's memes of guys and picks that are solid. And I agree with that. I mean, nothing. I mean, okay. I think, and again, I told you, we got just make sure we're under 2 hours. I want to do this show on Friday. Okay.
As he's about to start his prolonged rant.
Yeah,
right. As it goes 30 minutes,
under 2 hours.
As it takes 30 minutes to talk about the Raiders, keep it under 2 hours, though, guys.
No, I will say this. I just say, watch the clock. I want to keep this under 2 hours. We got the best defensive player in the draft that didn't have question marks. Other than an injury. Okay, I'll take that, but some guys have an injury. But we got the guy that I wanted, and you should have seen my reaction to that. Then we get the best tight end in the draft, and then we actually get a quarterback that, developmental, sure, but, some people never heard, and I know like that, well, this guy compares to, I'm going to say a dirty word, Brady, but you know what? if the coaches like him and he has the thing that they like, what's not to love? We picked up needs, picked up
Purdue quarterbacks stay in the league, you know? I mean, you got to be smart as hell to go. Like, how many QBs are in the league that are from Purdue? Like, they actually produce quite a bit of NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, I remember a guy by the name of
Kyle Orton,
a guy by the name of Breeze. I know Breeze and Greasy. Who else? I'm sure there's a few.
Yeah, I mean, well, there are like a lot of backup. I mean, you got that David Blau guy who's been on like every team because he can learn to play. Because you got to be like, I mean, it's an engineering school. You got to be like a genius to go there. So they're pretty good at knowing playbooks and processing them. So you got to think one of them's got to pop eventually. I guess outside Drew Brees.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, Gabe? I'm going to try not to cuss on audio, but.
Gabe with the truth bomb.
Hey, live action. Hey, he came on for the draft show and said, "What's up to everyone but me?" So.
Did he? And then he followed up and said that your Captain Jack Smug comments are rubbing off on him. That's what he said.
And one final thing before I shut up for a little while. I want to say that the fans of Kansas City, even though they were smug, were a very, very awesome group of people, 99%.
Okay.
Because you can never do 100, but I would say the fans of Kansas City, overall, smug but very, very accommodating and joyful and wonderful. So
what barbecue spots did you hit? I know you went to at least one. Yeah,
we went to two. Well, now here's a question. Where would Captain Jack go to barbecue in Kansas City?
You probably went to Jack Stack. Yeah.
There we go.
And Q39.
No, we went to Gates the first night because it was the only one that was open because my flight was late.
Gates is all right.
It was good. Jack Stack was the second time we went to Jack Stack, so we only went to two. I will go to Jack Stack's, and we went to a different one. We went to the one downtown this time. The other time,
the Plaza,
it was away. But I'll go to Jack Stack anytime. It's not just the queue; it was the sides.
Oh yeah, the corn.
Yeah, the corn and the cornbread and the mushrooms and the beans were wow. I'm still. Yeah, the sides and the queue was excellent. So Jack Stack. If you're going to Kansas City, if you're Jack, go to Jack. I'm
there you go.
2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours.
All right. So let's talk about. Appreciate it, Avatar. Appreciate you coming through as always, man. DZ, Gabe in the chat, Raiders07, everybody that's our normal, loyal, and every week listeners. Appreciate y'all for coming through as well. As anybody new out there as well, like I said, like, comment, subscribe to these channels. The channels are in the description of the videos. Hit our YouTubes up, man, and show us some love. But like I said, the draft was really good. I think there was a highly interesting draft. I think there was a lot of curveballs thrown in the first round that were ultimately matriculated down to the later rounds that some guys went higher, some guys went lower than expected. But overall, I think all in all, I think nobody was truly super kicking cans and, pissed off about the draft when it comes down to the AFC West. There's some interesting picks, some head scratchers, but I think that, I think we all stay off the head scratcher list. I mean, I think everything that everybody picked up in certain regards made, some semblance of sense. So starting off with, let's start with the Chiefs. I want to talk about their draft since they were picked the last in the first round. We'll work our way up as we wait on Richie. And I think that, I had some interesting picks, some not so household names, but give me your takes, Alex, on how you felt about your draft and how you feel like these guys are going to fit into the Kansas City mold.
Yeah. So, kind of go with what DZ said. I thought it was a pretty wild draft in terms of all the picks moving around.
Yeah.
I mean, KC alone, I think I said every show leading up to it that I expect them to make trades, and I think they traded 3 times. And did move up to get their guys. Didn't do that in the first round, but It kind of, I think, played out nicely for, Felix Ndike Uzoma, the guy they drafted, to take him. He's a KC guy. So to take the, hometown kid with the last pick of the first round to close it out, kind of played out well in terms of the storybook finish for, round one in KC. In terms of the pick, I mean, that's who I picked in the mock. If they didn't move up or anything like that. So, I think he fits in pretty well, and he's 6'5", 255, so fits the Spags mold.
He's right on the edge though.
Yeah. But he comes in, he's only 21, 3-year starter at Kansas State. I think third all time at Kansas State in sacks. I think he's had like 22 or something. So I mean, getting quality, I view it kind of similar to Karlaftis last year. Like they're getting a quality edge guy who, has plenty of tape, plenty of experience, and is not going to come in and be forced to be, quote, the guy immediately. So, I think they kind of took the blueprint from last year. We've seen a lot of reports that they were allegedly trying to move up. Who that was for is beyond me, based on the positions they went in first, second, third. But I can't be mad about how the board fell and getting an edge rusher, which was a big area of need. At the last pick of the first round, and not really picking anyone that's like, ooh, that was a reach, or some guy that, just has a bunch of problems and fell. I think they got him right where he was kind of picked to be going. So, I call it a good, safe pick, and we'll just see how he fits in, but certainly adds quality depth to the, edge rotation. Then the second round pick, they moved up to get Rashee Rice out of SMU, who was, definitely not a receiver that I had on my radar in terms of who was supposed to be around in that area where they were picking, and who I thought fit or what they needed. But, they traded up to get him, and you see all the Beach, draft day videos that he constantly says, it was my goal for day 2 was to get the wideout from SMU. So, I mean, it's a guy that they really like, and once they went back and kind of watched his highlights, I mean, you can see why they would like him. I think he's very similar to type of receiver that Juju was last year. Not necessarily a speed demon or like an over the top guy, but has a huge catch radius and is not afraid to get in there to catch a ball. So I think that he will mesh in pretty well. He's also, I guess, was Mahomes' guy from all the receivers he worked out with leading up to the draft, which I'm sure next year will be tampering or something at this point. But, that was Mahomes' guy. With that being said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was also his guy. So we'll see. But, I mean, if you got your MVP QB that has a receiver he wants to work with, I mean, you do what you can to make that happen. And I think given the receivers that fell in the first round and 4 going straight and kind of being out of the running for any of those, I think they kind of went back to the board and, went with the guy that they valued more over that second tier, which I'm fine with, because I mean, it's a crapshoot with drafting any of them. So at the end of the day, I think Brett Beach explained in his press conference, like, you got to trust your board and where your scouts rank people. So, up to this point, he hasn't been too wrong on his later day picks. So I'm not gonna talk about anything being a bad pick or act like I know more than him, because he certainly built championship rosters in the draft he's done. So I'm pleased with it, and I think that he'll fit in well and kind of add a different piece to the receiving group. Third round, took Wanya Morris, the kind of third tier tackle out of Oklahoma, but very much a freak athlete. Actually played with Trey Smith at Tennessee, which I didn't know that before him. But so kind of adds, I guess, a little continuity to something. Hopefully, right side of your line, and I think brings in another guy to compete for that right tackle spot, but does not. It wasn't like spending a lot or high capital on someone, and then it doesn't work out. You're stuck with, I mean, a 3rd round pick. They did trade up with Cincinnati, ironically, to get there, but at the end of the day, you can't really be too mad at the first 3 rounds, given the biggest areas of need and not really overpaying to trade up for anyone. And like not using all 10 of their picks. I think they made 7 complete in total. So, I thought pretty solid 3 rounds, and then obviously 4 through 7, it's just more of that's kind of where Veach plays. Finds his diamonds in the rough. I know Coach took a guy in the 4th round that you were pretty high on, and Connor from Virginia Tech. But to be honest, I didn't really watch too much of him. But once all these picks happen, you go look at YouTube, and I mean, dude can play.
I told you.
So the thing I really like when you look at all the kind of draft profiles on the guys that Casey took, 4 through 7. All have like a lot of special teams experience, and had a lot of film playing special teams. So I thought that was good to kind of see that. You saw a trend that was kind of what they were valuing as well with these later picks, and finding younger guys that can kind of maybe work in that way and potentially bring in some more upside. So I mean, pretty excited about Connor and just watching his tape and then looking at his stats. I mean, he was pretty. I think he had like 5 forced fumbles or something like in his career. Like he lays the wood.
Yeah, he does.
And then right after that, 5th round, they took this B.J. Thompson, outside linebacker out of Stephen F. Austin, who actually he started at Baylor and transferred, but he's definitely like a developmental edge guy.
B.J. Thomas has sang "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head." He's really old, man. If they drafted him, let me see, he was probably 30 in 1970.
B.J. Thompson?
What are we talking about here?
No, you said B.J. Thomas, right? Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Oh, Lord, Cap.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. He's pretty old. He was available, and whatever round you got him, good for him.
No more before Christ talks, there, Cap. If that happened before the birth of Christ, we're not talking about it.
Raindrops, yeah. I did not know who sang that song.
Me neither. Yeah. That's one thing about Cap, though. I give Cap credit. If you need to phone a friend about an interesting fact that you don't know, call him first.
Yeah,
I give him credit for that.
Some obscure 1960s music knowledge.
There you go. Call Cap.
70s, man. Give me some credit, man. Come on.
I was going to say 50s. I mean, you want to read back to Raindrops Falling on My Head. How long was that song?
Well, I know some 50s because of my mom's record, but I digress.
He knows the old sock hops back in the day.
There you go.
How about the Everly Brothers singing, and now it's Bird Dog by the Everly Brothers. Hey, Bird Dog, get away from my chick. Hey, Bird Dog, better get away quick. There you go.
And none of us know what that is, but you.
Bird is the word.
There you go. You're muted, Rich. Rich, I think you're muted. But I mean, I think overall, man, I think it's funny too that everybody on this panel's team got a sleeper that I was eyeing. I did a 4-week series on sleepers on my podcast, and everybody got at least one. Ironically, the Chargers I think took 2 out of the sleepers that I underscored, and Connor was one of them. So I mean,
they watched you.
Huh?
Well, they watched you, right? So they watched your series and they just picked based off of
if they're smart, they would and they should and
they're probably sitting there looking at their board and they're like,
what does Coach think? What does Coach think?
Steve did say, and they're like, yep, sign him.
Sign him up. The Broncos went back to back. Actually, Rich, I had Roddy Moss and Drew Sanders as sleepers, and y'all picked both of them up. So I'm proud of you for that pick. Those 2 picks, but I think Connor's gonna be a good guy for you. Like I said, he's a willing tackler. He's fast, physical. To the point. Like I said, that's what you need in your secondary. Special teams in secondary, he's gonna be that for you. Like I said, I think he's gonna be a player, and I'm almost positive he's gonna make your roster.
Oh yeah, like I mean, he pretty much
Shamari Connor out of Virginia Tech.
B.
Jamari Connor.
Yeah.
Jamari.
Kansas City's fourth-round pick. Their fourth-round pick.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry for the Chiefs. It's like I don't know who you're talking about. He wasn't the wrong.
Not the Broncos. Not the Broncos.
They picked up Sarah
You're
Connor.
right. You're absolutely right. It's not Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. She's a badass.
Yeah, she is, but she didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I say, I think from a grade perspective, what would you give your team, Alex, from a grade perspective, draft grade?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd give them like a solid B, B plus, maybe somewhere in there. Obviously, I would probably do more B because, I mean, really can't really evaluate a draft class till 2-3 years after the fact, once you get them in there. But, like I said, kind of prefacing all of it, I thought that they, did good enough job to address all the needs that they had going into it. Didn't, have to give up capital to move up when they did, and kind of just let the board fall to them, in a lot of this, especially the first round and hit, hit every area that was out there, that they needed to. So
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Jack. I like it. I see what you did there. But yeah, that's a solid grade, though. I think that it's a solid grade and it's a good fair grade because I believe that this particular draft, even though, like I said, they weren't sexy picks, but they were picks of need and they were value picks for a position that you were trying to fill on your roster. So for that space, in that regard, at least you were smart enough to go after things that you need versus just picking in the wind and hoping something sticks, right? Just throwing stuff against the wall and hoping it sticks, right? That's what some teams did in this draft, and I just got to scratch my head like, what are we? Are you just out here? Like, who's your scouting department? Like, can we talk to them? I need to know what their thought process was. I mean, you had some teams how he had 12 picks, Rams, and you couldn't ask me what their thought process was when they drafted. I don't understand it.
I don't think they knew. They're just
exactly.
Like,
Somebody said to me, he said, they're not used to picking, so that's why they pick so bad. Like they usually they don't have any draft picks usually, so they didn't know what to do with themselves. But
dude, even the Lions,
they went with the dartboard method. The dartboard method.
Just throw it in the board and see if it sticks, and if it does, they draft them. Okay.
No, they literally stood at the back of the room. They took a dart and they said, wherever this lands, that's who we're getting. And
okay,
and that's how they did it. I really have no idea.
Probably
what
just got like a little, like a little draft board, magnetic one. They probably just pull a name out of the hat, throw it on.
Right, and if it lands, that's him. That's him. Turn the card
There's
in.
Our guy.
Turn the card in. Next Pro Bowler.
Barry Sanders.
Right.
How'd that get in there?
Right. Lawrence Taylor. What is this?
Do it.
Right.
Bring him back.
Get in the hot tub time machine. Go get Taylor.
There you go. There you go. So, Cap, if you can go down your draft board here fairly quickly, as you underscored earlier, trying to keep this under 2 hours, and tell us exactly how you feel about your hot button picks, if nothing else. You did have a lot of picks. Some were definitely picks of need and value.
Right. One more for Gabe. There you go. Okay. One more for Gabe. Gabe, the guy was already picked. Okay. So wait. This is a visual. Get up to the screen.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't even know what Gabe said.
I said that he was the best defensive player. He was the best defensive player, and he was. That was not already picked. Okay?
Oh, I got
Use your effing head, Gabe. That's what a 17-year-old smartass does for you.
Jesus, Cap.
He's just a boy.
Child abuse.
He's just a boy.
Child abuse.
No, that was not child abuse. That was the get off my lawn moment.
Oh yeah, that's the good one, Rich.
You can't pick a player that's already picked unless you do a draft with us. Okay.
Old man yelling at clouds.
You can't pick a player that's already been picked unless you do like a mock with us. It doesn't work that way, Gabe. Okay, it doesn't work that way.
To be fair, your statement was
a
broad.
Rocking chair on a front porch with a shotgun, get off my front lawn moment.
There you go.
To be fair here, I do think that you have definitely narrowed your statement from when it was first said to now.
He did. You did, but we digress. We don't want to take too much of your time. You know, we
Yeah, we have
yield
2
the
hours.
floor to you, sir. We
Common
yield the
sense,
floor to
2
you.
hours. Common sense in 2 hours. Okay, he was.
That's all you want. That's all you want. Conversation
Common
2 hours.
sense in 2 hours.
Okay.
Point
Right.
being is that when the guy was there, and I was on the inside of the rope, I wasn't up into the front section yet, and I said, if the name is not Carter or Wilson that gets turned in, I'm going to throw something at the big screen that's in front of me. Okay.
Oh,
But here's the thing, and I'll go through it because I had to get the list. Tyree Wilson, right?
Mhm.
Excellent pick. Edge. The only problem with Tyree is that he has a plantar fasciitis injury. Hopefully that won't be something that, you got to try to trust the doctors. But he was the best defensive player at the time that the Raiders took. Easy pick. And you throw him on the other side of Max Crosby.
You picked him in your mock too.
It gives a burr. It gives a burr to Chandler Jones, who maybe he'll get off the milk carton more. So now we got a rotation of all of those guys in there. And he can go inside as well because he picked up the commissioner. I wish he would have body slammed the mofo, but that's beside the point. Tyree Wilson at 7. The pick that Michael Mayer, did anybody get excited for that pick on TV? I don't know.
just you.
I know I did.
Well, you and all the Raiders fans in that section.
Yeah, well, at least me. Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame, same numbers, same attributes as some Hall of Famer by the name of Dave Casper. I'm not saying that he is Dave Casper, but they did call him Baby Gronk. And the other thing is that he was the best tight end in the draft, bar none. So there you go, Gabe. Look it up. Best tight end in the draft, and we got him with the second round. And the funny thing is that there was talk that the Raiders were, and I read this, I said, I can't believe
with
it.
the Chiefs.
The Raiders were talking with the Chiefs for 31, and the Chiefs wanted too much. So, Alex, I got to do that to you as well, because again, they wanted too many picks at 31 because we were targeting Mayer, right? Well, the way the board fell, we didn't have to go up into 31. To get the guy we want, just a little. It was a little one. It was all the way back here. It wasn't a big ride up in the sky. Okay,
Hey,
there you go. But
they tried.
Yeah. So again, you got Michael Mayer, who I love. That's why I said we didn't blow that pick, and that's why I was excited. Byron Young, a defensive tackle out of Bama in the 3rd round. You can't say anything about bad pedigree. The kid can play. This one at the other portion of the round 3, this was and I'll tell you the why later. Trey Tucker, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati, guy's fast. And I'm going to say that if Al Davis was like, okay, who had the top 40 time? That was always whoever had the top 40 time, whether he was a wide receiver or a cornerback. That's who Al wanted. I don't know if he had the fastest 40 time, but I know he probably was top 10.
Runs 4.4. Yeah. Would you say that he's Darius Hayward Bay fast?
Wow.
He's fast.
You went there, didn't you? Didn't you?
But here's something that he does that Darius Hayward Bay does not do. He catches the ball.
Yeah, no, I like that guy actually.
Yeah, he can't. And by the way, Darius Hayward Bay is a very nice guy. His mom is wonderful too. But yeah, that was the kind of and I'll tell you why why did they do it pick. But that was my kind of but we only got 2 hours. Jacorian Bennett, the cornerback out of Maryland. I don't know a lot about him, but everybody that said good things about him, we needed a corner.
How about that's a coach defense sleeper right there.
Was it? Good.
Yeah, it was.
There you go, Coach. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we got
led all defensive backs in the country with 27 pass deflections.
There you go. Well,
over the past 2 years
about him already. Okay, so we're
and
good.
Maryland too.
The second pick in round 4, we traded up to get him, and we traded up to New England. We gave up a pick. Some guy by the name, and I'm being facetious when I say some guy, is Aiden O'Connell. The quarterback he doesn't have a rocket arm, but he's got the smarts, okay? like Alex, was that in pregame or was that on screen? The kid's from Purdue. He's an engineer. He's smart. He was kind of like he was the other one, because McKee was from Stanford, and I wouldn't have gotten him. But McKee went to the Eagles. I'm like, wow, he went to the Eagles. Anyway, a quarterback that is smart, that has intangibles. And by the way, he walked on. He walked on at Purdue and was the starter by the end. So the kid's got some chutzpah. Okay, he's got some wasta. He's got some marbles. Okay,
Huevos. Huevos.
Reference. There you go. Hey, I'm packing them in here. But yeah, I really like that pick. Chris Smith, the safety from Georgia, fantastic. His only problem was that he was small. But I've seen him play great pickup at safety round 5. Love that. Amari Burney, the linebacker from Florida, I don't know him personally, but I know a lot about him because he's a Gator. He was a safety / linebacker at Florida, and he can do that for us. I'm sure that he's going to be like that monster that, oh my God, a linebacker who can cover. My God, we haven't had that in 30 years. So there we picked him up. Amari Burney, plus his cousin is Andrew Faison, so that works out well. In the 7th round, there's a kid by the name of Nesta Jade Silvera out of Arizona State. Don't know a damn thing about him other than he's big. Okay. Now here's the thing. Okay, and I'll go to the UDFA. Are we waiting on you? We'll go UDFAs later. We got.
Mm-hmm.
That me? Is that me?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, you're buffering there, bud.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't draft any offensive linemen, but we picked up 2 huge dudes in UDA. Okay. So that was my only question. Okay, is we didn't get an offensive lineman in the draft, but we did pick some up.
Okay. Well, while Cap's internet's getting this together, I want to show a quick graphic here. So Cap was right, and he did pick Tyree Wilson in his first pick of his mock draft. Yeah, not much of a hit outside of that. Definitely went different directions when it comes down to the real draft. But yeah. So between the Chiefs and the Raiders, the Raiders got 1 pick
day
right.
one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Bolt Bros one is when I picked Felix. That's what it was.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, we did so many mock drafts, they kind of run together, right?
Dude, didn't Day One go like 4th round too?
He did.
What an idiot.
Yeah, we definitely dropped.
Jim.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
but I think Wally Morris, like I said, I think he's gonna be a really good player though. I think he's gonna be really good.
Oh yeah,
I think he can compete for that right tackle spot. I think he can. But
Coburn, Chiefs took Coburn.
Yeah, that they did. All right, he's back. All right, so I'll just give you props, Cap, for your first round pick in the mock draft that you did get right. So I just wanted to show the chat and show the screen.
He got some crazy value with Jack Campbell too, because what did he go like 12?
He did go 12. Yeah, the Lions picked him up super early.
Yeah,
super early. Eli Ricks didn't even get drafted. He got picked up as a UDFA.
That's wild.
Yep. And I think Voorhees went to the 7th round to the Ravens.
And look here, dude didn't get drafted, right? Their PFF's grading him a B if you got him in the 4th round. Like,
right, exactly.
It shows what they know.
Right. or show what coaches know, because clearly nobody picked him up, and he might be a star.
Alex, we both liked Ojomo.
Yeah.
And guess who got him?
I think he's going to be a spectacular NFL player. He was drafted in the later part of the 7th round as effectively a throwaway pick to say, we want him as a priority guy instead of a UDFA by the Eagles.
Yep.
And PFF here says, you draft him in the 4th, that's an A+.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
I mean...
Yeah, even like the Coburn. I think the Chiefs took Coburn in the 6th round. Yeah, 6th round, 194.
Yep.
Now, Now
They don't know anything. They don't know.
Now, Alex, in PFF's defense, what will be very interesting is if Ojomo does have a great career and goes on to kill it at the NFL level, I would argue that PFF got the draft grade correct, right? Because that would mean drafting a guy in the 4th round who has a very successful NFL career. I mean, he was then worth at that point a 4th round pick. Just you were able to get him in the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, heck, at that point there, he's probably worth a 1st round pick because so many other picks kind of burn out and fail, right? So I think time will tell, as you said earlier in the podcast, Alex. 2-3 years down the road, where do these guys land?
Good question.
Right?
Good question.
Where do they land? Where are they at? How many guys are starters? How many guys are flamed out of the league? How many guys are, rotational guys at best? Only time will tell. We'll wait and see.
Indeed. So, Cap, as you wrap up your breakdown, what do you give your draft board a grade?
Am I back? Is it better? Am I still
good.
Lagging?
Are you good?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I literally got rid of about 12 windows.
Okay.
There you go. Hey, by the way, Gabe, look at it, baby. There you go. American Spring Football League. There you go, Gabe. So there's another. That's just for you as well. I'm sorry. I love you, Gabe, but you know what? The middle finger's your brother. Go ahead.
So what do you give your draft of grade? What your drafting of your team this past draft? What do you give them a grade as far as what the Raiders did in the draft?
I'm not going to give it an A because, like Alex said, it takes a couple years for the thing. But I would say I call it B plus. Again, I'm not gonna get all conceited and say that we had a wonderful draft. And if these guys pan out, you can't give it less than a B plus.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. All right, Rich A. Let's talk about these Broncos here and how they were all on my sleeper board early on in the second. Did y'all move up in the late second to get the last pick in the second round? I thought I saw that.
Yeah, we did. So we had back-to-back picks in the 3rd. We took the 2nd pick in the 3rd, traded it along with another pick to go up to the 2nd, and then we ended up packaging a pick going down in the later rounds, picking up a tight end and drafting down, and we did like a whole draft swap thing. So we went into the draft with 5 picks. We drafted 5 guys, but we traded 3 times.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of willing and dealing there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of willing and
draft
dealing.
Day. A full draft day experience right there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we saw Sean Payton hitting the bomb. So,
Did we really? I missed that.
You ain't seen this video? It's all over Twitter, man.
You gotta show me that one, Alex.
P just ripping.
Oh, you gotta show me that one, Alex. I gotta see that one.
Let me find this.
So, I guess I'll kick off. I'm going to go through the list, and then I'll kind of give a quick little small blurb on each of the guys. I'm just going to list them off.
Okay.
2nd round pick was Marvin Mims Jr., wide receiver of Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
Round 3, pick 67, which is our original pick in the 3rd round, the earliest pick. We were 67, 68 originally. We drafted Drew Sanders, linebacker of Arkansas.
Yes, coach defense sleeper.
Yeah. Round 3, pick 83 was Riley Moss, defensive back from Iowa.
Yes.
Who's they list him as defensive back, but he's projecting to be a cornerback at the NFL level.
Oh, he's definitely a corner.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, all these draft boards had him as a DB. He's a cornerback. Let's just call it duck a duck. And then we have round 6, pick 183, J.L. Skinner, safety of Boise State. And round 7, pick 257, Alex Forsyth, center from Oregon. So that's the entirety of the Broncos draft picks. I'm going to give my grade early to let the chat try to rake me over the coals and say, how dare I be so critical. I actually like our draft a lot. I think we drafted some really good guys, and I think that they're actually going to work out very well for our team. However, I am going to draft the grade. My draft grade is based on what I believe our team was deficient in. And you need to go into the draft to draft core and key positions, and you need to maneuver the draft accordingly in order to make sure that you do the best for your team as quickly as possible to make yourself better. With that in mind, my draft grade for the Broncos is a C-.
Wow.
And
Pew.
yeah. And like I said, I actually really like our draft, and I think these guys are going to do very well for the team. My problem is, I think we drop the ball on a lot of positions that are going to have a tremendous impact if one guy gets hurt, and I think that's a problem. So I'm going to start off with Marvin Mims Jr. I believe he is a great player. I think he's going to be spectacular for us as a team. A lot of comparisons are coming out looking at him and saying he's kind of like an Emmanuel Sanders type. If you're kind of looking at an NFL comparison, frankly, I don't think that's fair to put on a rookie. I think you got to let him develop and become his own guy. I mean, Sanders was a legend in some regard in Broncos country here, especially with his passes and whatnot that he caught from Peyton and some of the key moments. Thank you, Zed.
Wow. Wow.
That was my next comment, but I don't disagree. So if you expected me to be the Broncos homer here and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I don't agree," the short answer is no. So when I look at Mims, I think he's got great potential. And for those of you who are not Broncos fans, we have Jerry Jeudy, who we picked up the 5th-year option on, so he's going to be back the following season. But we have Cortland Sutton and we have Tim Patrick, both of which are coming into sections of their contracts where one or both could be moved on from. If Tim Patrick is moved on from, I'm going to lose my mind.
Is Hamler still there?
For now.
He's the best one. He's the guy that does the double pass.
What, Patrick? Oh, yeah. Like, let me tell you, the 5 minutes after the Broncos released Tim Patrick, or try to trade him, the Raiders will immediately try to go after Patrick from whichever team the Broncos trade him to. Like, he is just that good, right? He's easily one of my favorite wide receivers from my time as a Broncos fan. He's got body control. He's got great hands. To your point, he just never draws a pass, and he pisses the hell out of the rest of the division just because he's so consistent. You just hate him. It's like, it's annoying. Right?
I hate him.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't stand him, Grandma.
So then we move to Drew Sanders.
Oh,
Drew Sanders is a bigger, stronger version of Josie Jewell. He just is. Like that. I kind of look at him in that mold.
A little more of a pass rusher, though.
Yeah, he transferred in his last year from Bama. He was the edge rusher there, and he converted in one season and was highly productive as an interior linebacker off the ball. Yeah. So that tells me the kid picked the game up really fast and he's really smart. That's why I say he was a sleeper, because the fact that how he quickly questions the information to where he can completely convert from an edge rushing the passer level guy to an off the ball linebacker and be good on all 3 downs of the football. So I like that part.
I mean,
right, but that's what you want in your Mike guy.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's what you want as your Mike backer.
Absolutely.
You want a guy just like that, right?
And you're looking at a Swiss Army knife, because he's a big effective blitzer, and he'll be effective in the run, and he'll be effective in coverage. So I think y'all got still there. I really do.
And so he's the one guy that I'm kind of happy we took where we did.
I was too.
I'm happy where we took him where we did, but again, is that going to be the highest impact player for the gaps on the Broncos roster? And
might be.
I think that he's a good future pick. I think he's going to have a lot of long-term success. Here, let me put it to you this way. I was not happy with the Patrick Surtain pick.
You are now, though.
I bet he
No,
is, but he said that at the time. At the time,
Yeah.
he did say that. He did say that.
I'm not going to say that I'm not happy with the
I
pickup
wasn't
because I
happy
think he's
with it
done very,
either.
very well for our team. He's an elite level cornerback, right? He just is. He's
Yeah,
that good.
I'll be honest. I hated that pick for you guys, and I still do.
Yeah. Like
I'm just,
but,
I can't
but
stand
when I'm looking
Right.
but when you look at the team right now in terms of where we project for certain components, in particular of our offense, our left tackle's coming off a knee injury. We have no offensive center to speak of, really, who is proven in any way, shape, or form. We have a right tackle who we just
Miller, drunken something, whatever his name is. You got Quizen, drunken something.
Quisenberry.
Yeah, whoever the guy is you hate.
Cushenberry. I'm sorry, Cushenberry.
Yes. So we have Cushenberry, who
push,
is
baby, push with the Cush.
Yeah, Cush has no push.
Hey,
yeah, Cush has
Cush
no
has no push.
Rodney Hudson's
Yeah, Cush has no push.
Yeah.
And
All Cush,
so
no
so
push.
so again, I have that's my point, is that we have like three guys across our offensive line who are questionable. And in my opinion, with an older quarterback, even with a young quarterback that you may want to pull in after Wilson kind of in the back end of his career, you need to have a solid offensive line in order to allow them to develop so they can start reading the field, they can start doing the right things. When you look at what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes, they had a great offensive line. They let him develop and kind of be him. And then as soon as they re-upped his contract, the first thing the Kansas City Chiefs did was they put a just beast of an offensive line out in front of Mahomes to protect that investment. The Broncos have not followed that model, and I think it's actually hurting us. So that's kind of where I'm at and why I gave the Broncos as low as a draft grade as I did, because I think that's really, really important, is protecting your quarterback and allowing plays to develop, because not everything's going to work perfectly the first go-round. So Riley Moss was actually one of my favorite pickups for the draft for us. He has got all sorts of tools, all sorts of skill sets, and backfills a position of need. And I think the fact that we were able to pick him up where we did was a good thing. We got him in the third round. He can be a great developmental guy. Our GM, George Payton, has had very solid success with those mid-round cornerbacks on our team, including safeties as well. So I'll just go defensive backs as a broader thing. So I think that he's going to be he out of all of our pickups was a guy that, like, we picked him exactly where we should have, and I think he'll do well.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with any Iowa defensive player.
No.
Offense, yeah. But
well,
and
then the other thing is Iowa is also known for fielding tight ends that are very good.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I mean,
that's like tight end university, right?
Iowa was one of the worst college football teams in the country, and they had 2 first-round picks. So
right.
There you go. What did that tell you?
Yeah.
Right. But Alex, on that note, though, the reason why I bring up the fact that he's from Iowa and a cornerback is one of the big things in today's NFL is, can you cover the George Kittles, your guy there in KC? Can you handle the Darren Wallers? No, I don't want to say his name. I won't say his name.
You say Kittle and Waller, but not Kelsey. Come on, now.
that's just wrong. So many levels.
Exactly, but that's my point. Can you cover guys like that? And for the times where the safeties rotate out and you have an extra cornerback in, you need guys exactly like Riley Moss that are used to covering tight ends, especially good ones. And I believe that's an important piece.
I would argue that he might mess around and be a full-time starter on the outside.
The best person to cover a tight end on this panel is me. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it.
Lord.
Knew it.
Well, see, Captain, the problem with that is police are often called after that.
Right.
No,
what's the aftermath?
No.
You must have
what is the aftermath? What is the fallout?
Yeah. My name is not Mahomes' geeky brother.
Oh,
whatever.
boy. I What I say, Alex? What I tell you?
Here we go.
What I tell you?
Hey, you set me up. You set me up. You set me
That
up.
train is never late. That train is never late.
Always on time.
Sponsored by KY. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Here we go. Oh man, see, I missed it last week. See, he was on travel.
This week is watermelon passion.
Warming sensation.
I'm gonna have to start looking. I'll see what they got, and I'll get some of the flavors or whatever.
Hey,
have a whole
I
set
mean,
laid
everyone
out.
else, yeah. Everyone else always does posts and stuff with something in the background. You know, we can just have big tubes of KY going.
Right. So another one is JL Skinner, who I think is going to be an interesting prospect for us. We've typically had good, pretty solid success actually in mid-late round defensive backs, as I kind of said with Riley Moss. I'm very intrigued to see how Skinner works out. Safety on the roster, PJ Locke has actually done pretty well for us. Alex, your point, what do they look like after year 3? Well, PJ Locke in year 3 looked great.
Yeah,
like he was legit as a player for us, and I really liked how he developed as a player. JL Skinner, I think, is going to have that type of trajectory, although I do think he's a bit better than PJ Locke coming out of college. So I think that there's the potential that his growth can accelerate at a faster pace where he can potentially pop in year 2 as opposed to year 3.
You know what I envision with JL Skinner, Rich? I envision a third down off the ball linebacker for him. I mean, we're talking 6'4", 220 pounds. I think him in and around that 10 to 15 yard. Yeah, right. In that 0 to 15 yard range off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, that guy. There's a guy that's coming down and causing havoc in the middle of the field. I envision something like that for him.
It's interesting you say that because my first gut reaction was, is he going to be a dude that is going to come onto the team and you're just going to randomly see the word safety change to linebacker on the roster? And
the Cardinals had a guy some years ago that did that. He was a safety and was a converted linebacker.
It's funny you mentioned the Cardinals because guess who our defensive coordinator is?
Yeah,
Isaiah Simmons, Mark Barron.
Mark Barron was one before Mark Barron, actually, because Mark Barron wasn't as successful as the other guy was. But I'm trying to remember his name. I see his face, but I'm trying to remember his name. But he was a safety. He got drafted as a safety and converting to.
So, Coach, who's the linebacker? Who's the linebacker that Chicago drafted? The tweener guy.
Chicago. They drafted Noah Sewell. I know they drafted Noah Sewell.
No. Like a couple.
You're talking about way long ago. I know. Yeah.
Urlacher.
No.
Urlacher was a safety, though.
That's the name. Brian Urlacher was the safety that got converted to linebacker.
I'm talking between Urlacher and this draft. There's that tweener guy that they drafted. His name is just. I'm gapping on his name.
So you're not talking about Roquan Smith, are you?
Yes, I am.
Roquan Smith? Okay.
Yeah. So you have a guy like that who's kind of that tweener body type. That guy that's that like lighter, taller.
Yeah, Roquan was lighter coming out of college, but he put on some weight since he's been in the league, though. He's a full-time linebacker now.
No. I'm not saying that that's not true, but my point is JL Skinner is 6'4" and like in the mid 2, that
he's
low
220.
2s.
He's 220.
Yeah. Right, but the thing is, he could be a guy like that because he's got the ball coverage skills of a safety because he's been forced into that role. He could convert into the NFL, put on maybe, say, 10 pounds, play at 230, and still get that ball coverage style skill.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah. These days, you're absolutely right. He did play safety at Notre Dame. He converted to linebacker when he got to the league. Yep. Yeah, he did.
And just to cover off the last of the Broncos picks, Alex Forsythe, the center. This is one of the major issues I had with the Broncos draft is, in my opinion, one of the weakest spots on our offensive line is offensive center. And that also happens to be the fastest and shortest distance to get to the quarterback is right up the middle. So if you can literally force the offensive center back into the quarterback, you will absolutely get
That's
demolished.
not good.
yeah, that ain't good.
Right.
You ain't keeping a job for long if you're doing
No,
that.
and I mean, there's a
shouldn't be.
tagline like, he did, and that's basically what I'm thinking when I see Russell Wilson behind center. Because right now we have no great centers on the roster. We got Alex Forsyth, who I think can develop. He's a very sharp guy. I think he's got some good. Potential traits, but the problem I have is you have an older quarterback. You need to get the guy in the center of the ball so that the veteran quarterback and then the center can get on the same page so that they can develop a shorthand. Right? I mean, one of the only positions on the offensive line that's, perhaps as critical as the chemistry between the wide receivers and the quarterback is the center. I mean, look no further than Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday. Like, those dudes could literally finish each other's sentences, and I'm not exaggerating. Like,
I have a question. So, because you felt the need and the most glaring need was center, would you rather have them going higher for a center in the draft at around the second or third round, or are you still comfortable with the pick they made early on?
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, you could have got that Tippmann, right? Like for Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is, if you're going to trade up into the second, go and get that dude that is that core center prospect, that like a Tippmann or what the heck's the guy's name? He was my secondary offensive lineman.
John Michael Schmiz or whatever.
Or John Michael Smith, or even Alex Olivia or whatever.
From TCU or whatever?
Yeah.
Abdullah,
those three guys were kind of projected to be stellar interior offensive linemen in the draft, and two of them are basically natural offensive centers.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think two or three of those guys were already gone at your pick.
But my point is, if you're going to trade up,
go big. Just go big.
Trade up with purpose.
Got it.
Get that spot that is like, we are here in the draft. Roar, we need to do better. Here's how we're going to do it.
But I mean, I think they just didn't value those guys that high and didn't want to trade up.
Overreach.
I mean, I think it's pretty, because I think you can say that too with how the board went. Like, it's pretty obvious there's like 4 or 5 linemen that were ranked higher than everyone else, and then it was just kind of like they were all falling, and teams were just taking them kind of in later rounds when they had a need. And
but the point is, here's the Denver Broncos conundrum that we had going into this draft. We didn't pick until the 3rd round.
Yeah, which I mean,
okay,
creates a problem too.
Right, we didn't pick until the 3rd round. So then the question is, okay, well, that means you must be pretty darn good, right? Wrong. You had a 5-win team that you put on the field last season. So cut it out.
Yeah.
Like that. How many wins? 5.
Yeah, exactly.
5.
Right. So here's my point. When I can fit the number of wins on one hand, you are doing something wrong. Right? And so my point is, as a team like that, you are better off drafting quality over quantity, especially considering you have so few picks in this year's draft. So it is better for you to get guys that cover those holes, fits those needs, do the right things to kind of basically to bring you to the next level, to go from a 5-win team to maybe a 7-win team. I agree, Raiders 07. And that's actually what my concern is that I love our draft, and I think Mims is great, Sanders is great, and Moss is great. And I think Skinner is going to turn into be one heck of a linebacker for us.
I agree with that.
But the problem is that none of those protect your quarterback that you just threw away all those draft picks for.
Hey, Skinner, if Skinner doesn't pan out, he can work at a nuclear power plant for the boss. I tell you, he'll be good.
I'm not touching that. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Not doing it.
So the point I'm making is, what is your goal as a team? Are you wanting to fill out the depth to try to kind of just fill out the depth? Because that's really what the Broncos did in this draft. And I think we did really, really well in that regard. However,
it's like a swinging pendulum for me because I feel like I already got really good value in our first 3-4 picks. I really got solid
I like
quality
the
players.
first three, honestly.
I did. I love the first three.
Great.
Like I said, the 2 out of 3 were on my sleeper board, and I had Marvin Mims pegged to maybe we get him in the later rounds, and he snagged it. So I think that they got really good value. But to Richie's point, I agree. Is I think that O-line was a glaring need, and they didn't address it at all until the 7th round.
That's my point. That is 100% my point.
It's rough. It's a rough ask. Like
my thing is this: I am a build it through the trenches kind of guy.
Yeah.
I want my team's offensive line to be a wall, and they need to be monsters, and they need to be angry.
Which is interesting too, because that's typically what Peyton's MO was in New Orleans. Like he built that O-line that they have now. We're talking was it Ramczyk and who the guys he's with the Dolphins now, but he was there. He drafted him. Armstead.
Yeah.
Sierra Ruiz.
Jari Evans.
Jari Evans. I mean,
they're angry, right?
Yeah.
Angry. Like big, beefy, angry, right?
Who's the center? Unger?
Max Unger. When he traded for Unger was actually a Seattle Seahawk. He traded for Unger, but still, that was a Jimmy Graham deal. But he traded for Unger, but he had solid, stellar O-lines the whole entire time he was in New Orleans for the most part.
100%, and that's why they were even competitive. And so this is I think what so many Broncos fans, part of Broncos country, don't fully understand. One of the reasons why the New Orleans Saints, when Peyton was there, were perennial playoff teams was that the D-line was always amazing. And the offensive line was always within the upper tier of the NFL. And as a result of that, you could have whomever you wanted behind center.
Look at Cap.
But Sean Payton also his play calling or offensive schemes, I guess, is pretty close. I feel like close to Reed, and a lot of screens, a lot of quick get the ball. I mean. Oh, they call Michael Thomas slant boy, right? Because he catches 20 slants a game.
Right.
Move the ball. So, I think to some degree, you don't need to overanalyze or overvalue, some offensive line positions with how I guess they approach that. Yeah, I
disagree. I think the problem that Peyton is going to have in today's NFL, and you started to see what was happening in New Orleans or Narlands is he has
Narlands. Get it right, Narlands, baby.
Dude, I'm Canadian. I speak French. I don't speak whatever the heck that nonsense is. So, anyways, there's two problems. There's two problems that he's going to have here with Denver. One is he doesn't have the lines that he had in New Orleans in order to do what he needed to do. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
They cannot hold off the pass rush to allow those slants to develop as they do the roundabouts and all the routes stuff in order to get there.
Slants don't really develop though. It's one step. Boom, I'm throwing the ball
3-step drop, let it fly, buddy.
3-step
drop and let it go. If you're late, just get a pick.
How can you throw the ball on a slant route when the center of the field is completely collapsing on top of your quarterback? You're an offensive lineman.
Now you're not wrong. I mean, I can't argue that.
Okay, so all right.
So quick, dude. One
second.
second.
For Rich, right?
When I played offensive line and we had short route concepts, we all cut the D line, and it was if you miss, it doesn't matter because the ball's
coming out. The ball's coming out. Yeah.
So you want them to blitz because the more they blitz, you're opening something up.
Number two. Today's NFL is following a Vic Fangio. No, I'm countering what you were just saying with what my second point was actually going to be.
I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Is the vast majority of teams go into nickel packages and dime packages right now. And for those on the podcast that are kind of joining us that don't know kind of what that means that you're basically taking off some of the bigger bodies and you're putting on extra defensive backs. Okay. And so what that ultimately means is those quick slant routes, you would otherwise have, say, a bigger body guy like a linebacker potentially covering certain players. Well, that bigger body guy turns into a safety. that bigger body guy turns into a cornerback, someone who can actually run and keep up with people like that. And so the problem that you end up with, and again, I'm coupling these two things together because the NFL has changed and you need to adapt with it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Coach, as a defensive coordinator and kind of your background, I mean, this is like smile and nod stuff to say like this is like 100%, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so if you are putting faster, shiftier guys to keep up with wide receivers running slants, and you're putting more safeties or more aggressive guys on the fields that can kind of prevent that type of stuff, on top of having a weak offensive line where the quarterback cannot step up, you're done.
I love Raiders 07's avatar, by the way. Oh no, we suck again.
Yeah, classic.
That's good stuff right there. I love his avatar. Yeah, I mean, overall, man, I think Farmer. What is this? Farmer? What is it?
Farmer Fred. Farmer Fred.
There you go.
Listen,
we one time
Phil.
Cap got to come on stream with the overalls with no shirt.
Oh, I'm totally doing that next show. I'm totally doing that next show. I'm totally doing like what
overalls, no shirt.
Overall
no.
He's got it on.
You got that. Okay. You got that.
You look like
all
you
these
have
overalls.
Jurassic Park right now.
Right. Spare no expense.
You got the
you let her play another day.
I shaved my beard a little bit this week, and I'm regretting that immediately because for next show, it would have been better to have like a really long beard.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the overalls.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. So
I gotta find them, but I do have Raider overall, and I don't fit them like Farmer Fred.
Home is where you make it, Raiders.
If I can find them. And if you guys are going to see my nipples, if that can go by the sensors,
are they pierced?
I will try.
Are they pierced?
No, I don't pierce my. No, I go after the chicks. Their nipples are pierced.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Cool if you did it, just have a mutual connection there, right?
I'm just saying.
No pierced nipples and no Prince Alberts.
No, definitely not that. Definitely not that.
At least I know what the hell a Prince Albert is.
I know what that is.
No, I don't have one.
I don't. But I'm afraid to ask too.
You don't ask. You don't want to know.
Oh, you don't know?
I
know.
Is this a straight Google?
Don't tell them we're going to get banned. Don't tell them we're going to get banned.
Jack,
Alex, I'll hit you up in private chat.
And Jack, apparently you were looking for me. Avatar mentioned that you were trying to track me down yesterday. Feel free to enter whatever you were trying to track me down for in the chat, and we'll sort some stuff out.
Okay.
But overall, guys, my general consensus is I am a huge fan of the draft. Like, I really am. I'm a huge fan of the draft.
Jack, you're hilarious. Oh, you're hilarious.
But Jack, you totally said you love boobs.
Yeah, you did. You did.
But anyways, I'm a huge fan of the Broncos draft. I think we drafted some really good players, some guys that are going to contribute at a pretty high level for us.
Mm-hmm.
But my approach to the draft, when I look at the NFL draft, is simple. I want guys that can do what we need to do now.
I'm on your page now. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I didn't say it.
Good job, Cap, and great take, Richie. I applaud you both. So I got everybody's draft grade so far. So if I have this accurate, let me bring this back up here. I have Alex with a B, Cap with a B minus, Richie with a C minus. B plus.
B plus.
I'm sorry. Okay, B plus.
B plus.
All right. Just checking. Let's make sure. That's why I read it off when we posted it. I just want to make sure I read it right. So Richie, you got all your takes in before I talk about the Chargers?
The only thing I do want to say is before when this is eventually replayed to me by somebody who is trying to get me in a gotcha moment, look at the positions on the Denver Broncos this season that struggle. And in my opinion, those positions that you will see on our roster that are struggling are the exact ones that I am highlighting that I felt we needed to draft in this year's draft that we did not go after. Like that's quite literally my point as to why I graded our draft where I did, and why I'm also saying, but I really love the guys we drafted. I realize they seem very juxtaposed to
I
one
think the
another,
panel
but-
has the consensus, Rich. I think we're all in agreement that you lack the true need, but you still picked up quality. I think we all pretty much gotta say that
Absolutely.
sentiment. Yeah, I think we all share that sentiment.
That's what I was saying too about like I get the frustration with not going offensive line early, but at the same time I think they realized they weren't going to get the guys they wanted, without overspending, and said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take other positions for good value. And I mean, hell, Quinn Miners, right? The starting right guard was like undrafted or 7th round, 6th round D3 guy. So I mean, you can always find people, and I think with the current makeup of the at least interior of the Broncos line, like I think part of the thinking might be like it's really not going to be any better or worse if we just create competition from free agent guys or undrafted guys, because there can't really be any worse than Cushenberry or anything like that,
Yeah.
My only exception to this,
again.
my only exception to my comments is, Alex, you just mentioned the guy I was going to bring up as kind of the last take, and I want to throw over to you, Coach. Is Quinn Miners, when he was first coming out of college, was actually in a ramp-up mode to try to get reps at offensive center. He was trying to make himself versatile across all 3 interior positions, and he was actually coached up to try to get better and take over at the offensive center position. And frankly, Quinn Miners, if he can, in the offseason, get himself to a better spot from snapping the ball and like a quick look up, like you need to do with the offensive center position, I'd be totally comfortable with him at center, because he's a sharp kid, and he's strong as all get up. He is a wicked strong guy. So I'd be totally okay if he moves to center. But the problem is that's not where he's being projected right now. He's being projected at one of our guard spots.
Right guard. I see the right guard on the depth chart.
And so that's what my issue is
that
based
Rodney
on where he's
Hudson out
projected,
there.
I don't like it.
Rodney Hudson is a free agent. Free agent.
And speaking of free agents, breaking news: Chiefs signed Donovan Smith just like an hour ago. So.
Oh, the right tackle from the Bucks.
Left tackle from the Bucks.
Oh, the left tackle from the Bucks. That's right. Because Worth was the right thing.
1 year, $9 million deal. So I don't know what they're doing with that, but
okay.
I needed to acknowledge Jack Kenna. Thank you for the $2.
Yeah. First and foremost, let's congratulate Captain Jack for making 2K. Let's give a round of applause for that.
They're calling you Mr. 2K.
There it is,
Mr.
Captain Jack 2K.
Hey, and again, I was actually, I actually just got enough people say, hey, I got a YouTube show. And I got it. And I want to thank everybody that watches.
Yeah, whatever
I
works.
want to thank everybody that actually watches, and hopefully we'll get more. I want MHRT. I want coaches podcast to get up there too. I want Alex to figure out he needs to get a friggin' YouTube channel. Okay, so we'll get that done. So we'll get Alex up there. But no,
we'll let him get married and get that all out of the system. We'll become a true husband and a home husband. Then he'll realize he got nothing but time. A homebody. He'll get his own channel then.
So sorry, two quick things. Your new nickname is CJ2K.
I like it.
Okay. That's our new nickname for you. And Alex, I swear, if you don't create something soon, I'm just going to simply spin up a random show on MHRT Network where you're going to start posting Chiefs contents for us.
Well, I can do it too. Like, listen, I'm ready to go. Like, listen. We just split the avatar in the middle.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes,
right.
But yes, Cap, please address Jack before we move on. I'll give my take after that because I did want to acknowledge his gift and his question.
Right, and again, it's because when you send the money in, I gotta at least acknowledge you, and I appreciate that. I try to acknowledge everybody, but if you're gonna spend $2, or $5 or whatever, I gotta acknowledge you. By the way, I will eventually. I swear that because I got a weekend where hopefully I can actually go through and all the money that they send me. I'm gonna have a prize board pretty soon. Like I said, that box is not gonna empty itself. That box of Raider stuff is not going to empty itself. I want to say, and I would like to say, are you talking about who had the best draft for everybody or just in the AFC West, Jack? I wanted to ask that.
Yeah,
I think it's just the AFC West.
I think either way it's the Chiefs. So.
Oh, here we go.
I'm kidding.
Here we go.
I'm kidding.
Here we go.
That's sharp.
League wide, Eagles for sure.
Oh, Eagles definitely killed it. I mean, I think if I had to get my top 5 is the Eagles, the Steelers, the Texans, the Colts.
Yeah.
And,
what's crazy too is while we're waiting for Jack to clarify, I didn't think anything of it when the Texans traded up and got Will Anderson. I can't remember who was explaining it. They did that strategically. They took Stroud first because someone was trying to trade up. I think the Titans were trying to trade up with the Cardinals, but they only wanted Stroud. They didn't want Levis or Richardson or Levis.
Right.
So they took Stroud, knowing to take him off the board, knowing Tennessee would back out, and then were able to trade back in. It's just
there you go.
Crazy the amount of chess pieces that go with that, right?
I know, right?
Sorry, guys. Before we get into Coach's take and everything, we do need to acknowledge the absolute crazy trade that Houston made.
Oh man, they give up a lot. But they gave up a lot, but they still got a first round pick next year.
But my point is from what I was able to tell. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I joined the Bolt Bros for their draft coverage in the first round. That was a spectacular show. Highly recommend going back and checking that out. Coach, you joined a little bit later in there as well. And then I kind of came back in after having to leave for a couple of moments. But
I was busy. I'm sorry. I would have been there. I was busy.
Yeah, that's fine. But it was absolutely crazy that you ended up with the team picking so high back-to-back
literally
in the NFL draft.
Yeah,
like
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Like, that's insane.
It is.
But they got their guys, man.
They did. They did.
And got rid of Watson and got all that because of Deshaun Watson. So.
How about that?
Yeah.
And it is almost a rewind of what they drafted when they first came into the league as an expansion team. Remember they drafted Mario Williams and David Carr back to back?
Yeah.
It's basically they cornerstones of their franchise, and they just redid it again years later. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So sorry, Coach. Over to you. Let's go ahead and get the.
We got to talk to who had the best AFC West draft. Oh, I guess we do the Chargers first.
So did Jack clarify? Did I miss that? He said AFC West. Okay,
yeah,
I got it.
He said amongst us.
Okay. All right.
We'll do it after we do the Chargers.
Okay, that'll work. Okay. All right. So in regards to the Chargers draft, I have to say that I have very mixed emotions. I'm, as Ron Burgundy would say in that famous movie that we all know.
San Diego. I'm sorry. That's what he said.
I'm in a glass case of emotion when it comes down to the draft, right? So first round, and I'm really on the Bolt Bros podcast as the draft, as the first round is starting to get into the middle tier, right? And we're seeing Jackson Smith and Jibba drop, right? We get to pick 19, he doesn't get picked. We're like, well, shit, Seattle's not going to take a wide receiver, are they? I mean, they don't pick offensive players. He's a defensive guy, right? So we're good. Jackson's going to fall to us. And damn if they didn't pick Jackson and Smith and Jibba, the 20th overall pick. Broke everybody's heart in the chat. You literally saw it live. Like every Charter fan on the podcast was like throwing papers. Like it was just like
it was great.
I'm sure you loved it, Rich. You're the only person that liked it. He's the only one that liked it. We were like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" So we were like, okay, so Bijan's gone. Kincaid was still out there. That was an option. But if they do our receiver, who would it be? So we're all like, okay, we're gonna get Zay Flowers. All right, no problem. Day Flowers, hand the card in, right? Card comes in, and it's a guy that nobody projected to go in the first round, practically, in the later weeks of the draft, after the combine and pro days and things of that nature. Quentin Johnston. I'm like, wow. So clearly the Telesco, Spanos era loves tall-ish receivers, right?
Coach, your GM has a bar above his office.
Yeah, it's a height requirement. It's like the roller coaster thing.
Yeah,
like
you must have be this high to ride this ride.
Thank you.
You are not allowed to enter the building.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if you're not at least 70 inches, you can't ride this ride. You can't get a contract with this organization, right? That's pretty much it. But ironically, like, okay, let's say it this way: you have to be this tall to play receiver for this organization. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because they did draft a guy in the later rounds is 5'8", so it's not a complete and total height bias. But
don't worry, he'll be cut.
For started, no, he's gonna play. He's gonna play. He's gonna be a kick returner. I'll get to him in a minute. But speaking of who we drafted, the Quentin Johnston was number one. Now, it's instant fury and rage because again, we're like, why would we draft another guy that looks like the guys we already have, right? And I think that was the biggest problem. So like, why would you driving another 6'4" guy who's more of an outside boundary receiver? He's a boundary wide receiver. He's not a slot. He's played at TCU. He exclusively played outside the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, so what was the rationale behind it? Outside of the whole, he's tall and he's he can jump, because he does. Be honest, he's a hell of an athlete. We're talking about 6'4", 215 pounds with a 40+ inch vertical. So I mean, he can go, he can fly, right? If he was a basketball player, he'd probably be a first round pick, for any NBA team right now, just pure athleticism. But very head scratching pick. Just like what are we doing? Where are we going here? How do we view this pick, right? How does it fold back into what our current and long term plans are? And I guess the best argument you can come up with is the idea that once you dig deeper into it, the initial reaction was bad. Like we all had initial awful reactions to it. But when you dig deeper in it, and it's ironic too, because literally the night after the draft ended on the first round, the Welcome to the League rookie show came on NFL Network, and they were featuring Jalen Hyatt and Quentin Johnston. So I got some more inner workings and inner looks at him as a receiver, and I got to see a little bit more film that they don't publish online, right? So I get the feeling that they were impressed by his size, his athleticism, and his ability to create after the catch. Now, I would argue that, his ability to create yak, even if he's going to be outside or boundary X receiver, anywhere he plays, and they can look at it from a perspective. Even if you line him up outside, put Keenan in the slot, and you could, kind of manipulate offenses that way. That's an option. So I think that, and I think this is also a caveat that people aren't actually looking at either. I think I have the sneaky suspicion, because based upon what Herbert's success rate has been with receivers, I think he prefers taller receivers. Mm-hmm. I think he does. I think he would prefer taller receivers because he loves Parham being 6'8" as a tight end. He loves Mike Williams being 6'4", almost 6'5". He loves Keelan being 6'3". So I think they consulted him and said that if we had a choice between this guy and this guy, who would you pick? And if it's a shorter guy or it's a taller guy, I think he preferred the taller guy. I think that might have been the selling point, a reason why they took Quentin Johnston. Like I said, nobody, it was very secretive. Nobody actually, considered him being picked as high as he did. So
do you think part of the assessment was too that, given the track record of Mike Williams and Keenan and them getting hurt, it's like, well, if we take someone that's similar, then maybe we don't lose that part of our offense, if we get to that situation and take some load off of them.
Yeah, and I think that was the thinking, and I think one of the analysts at NFL Network actually made a good point. They said that they looked at it from a future perspective, not necessarily a guaranteed option that we have to have something right now that's going to work and hit right now and be an all-pro right now. So it was a long-term play.
I think it's both.
Yeah, it's a long-term play. I think he'll be productive early, but I think he'll round out to be a number one and number two receiver in the offense once the other guys are gone. So I think that it was a long-term play, and the fact that you get guaranteed 4 to 5 years with them, no matter what, you're looking at it from a long-term play versus it being a short-term need. Because again, I still argue that Zay Flowers is the better play there, and he literally went to pick after us, after we picked to the Ravens. So I think that was questionable, but I understand the rationale to a degree. Would I have done it? No, but it's still option that can work. And if you told a GM that you would have a 6'3", 6'2", and 2 6'4.5" receivers as your starting receiving core out, they were like, yes, please. So and again, I think although he's not quick and twitchy, short area quick twitchy, I think he's still straight line fast. So if he can develop into a guy that can catch contested catches in the slot and in that seam area, in that middle third of the field, then I think he can be valuable in that regard as well. Because again, he is a leaper.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. So this league is all about matchups.
Yeah.
It 100% is, right?
Oh yeah.
And the number one thing you have to do to get yourself a guaranteed spot in the playoffs is win the division. Obviously, bottom left corner of the screen has taken that particular crown for a bunch of years past, right?
Yeah.
So now my question is, okay, with that in mind, how do you think he's going to match up against the DBs in the AFC West?
Well, I think he's going to be the Devin Booker of this particular outfit because the Suns have Kevin Durant. So Devin Booker's production has gone through the roof because he's no longer being guarded by the best guy. So if you're going to be able, if you have to pick up your two best guys and line them up against Keenan Allen and Mike Williams every time, the natural mismatch is going to be Quentin Johnston. I think that's the easy answer.
R opens up for one of the other two if he's bringing more attention than that.
That was exactly my point. Do you think that he can? Do you think he can beat an NFL corner?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Again, he has some things to work on. I think he's a natural. I told Alex this earlier on after we drafted. I think that he's not a natural hands catching receiver. That's concerning because people that aren't natural hands catchers have issues with drops in contested situations. When balls get into your body, then you ultimately, end up with balls falling out and hitting the turf because you get hit and the ball falls out. Now Richie did that himself. He's good. He's good. You didn't do it, Cap. We're good. But
I did not do that.
No, you're good.
I did not do that.
You're good.
Oh, what's this red button at the corner?
No.
End session.
No. No. Yeah, no. I am Groot. No, not that one.
I will say though, I did not like Quentin Johnston's draft video. Like when he got the call, I didn't care for how he responded. Didn't seem like he was overly happy.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he thought because because people were harping on the idea that he didn't even come to the draft because he didn't think he was going to get picked in the first round. So he'd rather have a party with his family and figure out when he was going to get drafted versus being at the actual draft and being on stage that night. Because everybody to get picked in the first round, you guaranteed to be on stage. So
I don't blame him. I wouldn't go. I don't want to be Will Levis, man.
Right. You see, Will was the only person that stayed around because he got drafted in the second. He was the only person that came on stage.
Time than the QBs drafted.
He did. Him and his girlfriend. got a lot of camera time.
I actually can say, and only because this is real stuff. Okay, my buddy Hollywood, who pops in here a lot. He said he was talking to this lady that had sunglasses on, and he got a chance to talk with her and whatnot. And he's saying like, well, why are you wearing sunglasses? And she goes, because I've been crying. And it was Will Levis's mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of insight from people that were actually there. And again, I'm glad the kid got drafted. It was it was worse than an Aaron Rodgers type of thing because at least Aaron finally went at 24. Right. But the thing is that, and I asked my friend who was a Kentucky honk. I said, why do you think he dropped? And he said that it was probably that he got blowed up, in proper English. He got blowed up a little bit more, and maybe his games against the SEC, he didn't really perform that well. So,
yeah, I mean, there were a lot of question marks for him overall.
Well, and I feel like too in any draft, like there's always got to be one other QB that might be first round, so these teams can kind of like smoke and mirrors who they really want, and you know, things like that. So there's always like that one guy that's given a first round grade and probably shouldn't get one, and will go close.
And it's almost like it's flipped. So getting back to my take, like you thought Will Levis was going the first round, you think Quentin Johnson wasn't. So it's like Quentin win the first, and then Levis had to be the sacrificial lamb that dropped out. You know, that kind of thing. So, but yeah. So I mean, but overall, like I said, I think the Quentin Johnson pick is actually an interesting pick. Like I said, I think it's a long-term player, and they're going to try to coach him up to the point where he can play the slot more so, and he can kind of mix and match playing X as well as slot. So he can, you know, be a somewhat of a Swiss Army knife when it comes down to his ability to make plays. You know, because I think he's very comfortable on the outside, but if he can learn to play in traffic, I think that he will be an asset to the offense. Now, when it comes down to the second round, now this is ironically enough, this is one of my sleepers, but I didn't see this happening at all either. You know, I had my eyes and I was salivating on my guy from Northwestern, and he didn't go to the fourth round. But they picked up a hometown kid, you know, by the name of Tuli Puiliatu from USC. Say that 3 times fast. You know, tagged as an edge rusher, but his changing of his
Coach,
body.
Can you say it again?
No.
You trying to say
no,
or whatever?
Tuli, that's something like that.
Tua,
yeah.
Right?
Tuli. I'm calling him Tuli. Pull there you go, Cap. There you go, Cap. I'm gonna ask Cap to say it from now on. Tutu. Oh, no, they don't call him Tutu. Tuli. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call him. But the interesting about him is that he was, you know, when you look at him, if you had to put one word on him as far as college is concerned, it's productive. Like he was super productive as edge rusher for USC. Even though that defense wasn't that great, he was the shining moment in that defense in a lot of facets. 13 and a half sacks. You know, had 2 really good years. You know, there in the last couple of seasons that he's there, with and without the new coach. What is his name? Lincoln Riley. So, you know, I think that he is, you know, somebody, you know, and I feel like you always can trust Samoan football players. I just feel that way. It's just something in my bones to think that Samoans can play football. I just feel that way. So,
I like Richie's name for him that's in the private chat. I'm just saying.
Oh Lord.
That's it.
No, not doing that. Definitely not doing that.
That's it.
So yeah, it's weird about him because he was 291 when he was playing as a sophomore. He slimmed down over the past year to 266, which, you know, tagged him as a bona fide edge rusher versus being a hybrid 3-tech versus edge, right? So I was trying to understand exactly what he was driving at, because naturally when you drop 25 to 30 pounds, you would think that would make you a little bit faster, but it didn't. He still runs about a 4.9 40. So, you know, you typically tag 4.9 guys as interior guys versus edge, right?
Yep.
So that gave me pause. It's like, you know, how, you know, what was the rationale behind drafting him? You think
they're going to load him back up again and wait?
I'm going to get to that same point, really. Yeah, I'm literally running right into that idea right now. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think they might kind of hedge it in the middle, not necessarily go all the way to 290, but maybe 10 to 15 more pounds, and kind of give him a hybrid role. Kind of and deploy him as
kind of play any of it.
Yeah, like I get, you know, any position on the line. So we take an injury in any position on the line, especially when the pass rush comes.
Go play.
There you go.
Go play.
Not a bit 3-tech, not a bit 5, not a bit edge. You can do it all.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what they were thinking in that regard, because it's clearly he can hold the weight because he's been there already. He can hold the 290 pounds because he's been there already. So you know there's not an issue for him to be able to, quote unquote, you know, bulk up a little bit, right? So if my take on it, he's not gonna get any faster by slimming down. Then, you know, just bulk back up and be a Swiss Army knife when it comes down to D line. You can play any position on the line except for no tackle. Why not?
So Raiders 07 just said if you say it 3 times, they show up. So titties.
Waiting.
I'm
a double D man myself. I'm just saying. But yeah. So I mean, interesting pick. You know, a lot of people tagged us as needing an edge or being a third person to rush a passer, especially with Khalil and Joey, having injury history. A lot of people were looking to do that. So wasn't a bad pick. I would much more so like for them to go a tight end in that position, but they didn't. But I'm not upset with the pick at all. I think it's a great value pick. Now in the third round, they went linebacker, ironically, and this guy was actually rated one in a lot of people's positional mocks. There you go, Cap. Deion Henley, who is actually another hometown kid.
I see a crack.
Yeah. So
I actually put that up under protest. That's my ex, but because it's unfortunate, but she hits the mark. But that is not an ass crack. Those are
there you
primo.
Go.
Those are pristine pups.
There you go. If Jerry Lawler was here right now, he'd be having a fit. But anyway, yeah. But like I said, taking the linebacker in the third round was a great value pick as well. Was a great value pick as well. Deion Henley. Now, and the Deion Henley pick was interesting as well because he was a two-time converted player. He played wide receiver, then he played safety, then he moved down to linebacker. So it tells me, much like Drew Sanders, he can process quickly and he can convert quickly. So to me, it's telling me he's super quick, he's super fast, super reactive, right? So if you can go from an offensive player to defensive player and then move from the back end of the defense to the front, then I think the kid is a super talented player. Little smaller for my taste, from a body type perspective. Because you're looking at it from an idea of what we have right now. Kendricks is about 240 pounds. Kenneth Murray's about 245. You go from 245 to 230, and the one knock on him was his ability to fight off blocks at the second level. So that kind of concerns me because, giving you a little bit of a coach speaking, from a football perspective, when you have smaller linebackers, you need good bodies up front. You need big guys up front to keep the offensive line off your linebackers, right? So, and we don't necessarily really have that, and we don't have a Haloti Nada or Kenny Clark, guys that did command double teams and can take up one or two, maybe sometimes three blockers. They make a lot of linebackers to flow downhill, right? So that's if we had a knock on him, I think that's the only thing I would say, because literally Trenton Simpson went behind him, and Trenton Simpson is 6'4", 235, 240. So I think that he might have been a better suited pick, from a prototype perspective, to play inside linebacker for us versus Deion. But
that's
again,
more for upside though.
Yeah, I mean, he's a ball. Let's be honest. I mean,
literally, the thing I just read said he missed 5 tackles on 97 attempts in 22.
I mean, listen,
that was his first year at Power 5, transferring
right.
from Nevada. So that's,
right.
I mean, that's a lot of crazy upside for a third round pick, man.
It is. I mean, like I said, he was rated top in the inside linebacker position. A lot of people's drafts. So I mean, you can't argue.
He had one of the best interviews in the college.
Oh,
season,
it was great.
Right?
It was great.
Ball.
It was great. So he's charismatic and he can ball. So if we can find a way to keep the big hog mollies off of him, he'll make a lot of plays for us. I do truly believe that.
Sorry, guys, I ran out of beer. That was criminal.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then in the fourth round, we got a kick returner who's a teammate of Quentin Johnston and Darius Davis, a legit 5'8", 165-pound, 4'3", 40 guy who was electric in kick returning. So that was a need, and that was a desire of ours by losing DeAndre Carter. So we needed some electricity on from a special team perspective. So they took him in the fourth round. Yet again, I'm still looking for my tight end, and I'm not getting it. But still a pick of need, right? So I'm okay with it. Then in the fifth round, you get Jordan McFadden, who is a lot of people are pegging as being the Jamari Salyer of this draft because they didn't understand him being a 2 to 3 year starter at Clemson at left tackle, why he dropped so far. And if you look at the tape, I think he may have gave up 1 pressure in 3 years, something crazy, some crazy number like that. So we're just dumbfounded why nobody took a flower on him. So they felt like they had to pick him from a depth perspective because again, banged up on the O-line last year.
Coach, that's my point with the Broncos, right? So, for example, like, what do you have on your team right now? What positions do you require?
Yeah.
See, in my opinion, the Chargers kind of just got richer. They had a great team on offensive line. Like, you actually had a great offensive line last year.
We do.
And I really think that the rest of the AFC West, folks who are still with us right now, click that like button below each of the videos you're watching. Go to our other channels and do the same. It really helps us grow, get more like-minded folks in to see the show. But on that note there, this is exactly my point, Coach, that I was making earlier about the Broncos. I think you guys have done exactly what I was saying the Broncos should have done, which is what positions are critical, what positions are going to protect your investment.
Well, how about this? I'll make you a deal. You can have McFadden give us Riley Moss.
No.
Hey, I tried.
Yeah, but
my point, for trying.
No, but my point here is, Coach, ultimately where you guys recognize that you're about to pay big money for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And the fastest way that you can better your team is to build an offensive line that can develop around him. And if you can get guys that are on cheaper rookie deals that can develop and be pretty incredible guys at their position, that is better for you, so that you don't have to pay your offensive linemen $15-18 million a year, because then that really depletes your salary cap. If you guys can keep younger guys churning through the offensive line that are stellar, then that's better for you.
Yeah. Yeah, right? And again, you look at it from a money perspective, because four guys now that we have on O-line that can play are all rookie deals.
Right, exactly.
We're only paying two guys on O-line actually, decent money. So that's the way to do it.
Depth on the offensive line too. You have two deep at several positions
that
are also rookies at those spots, or at least cheap vet deals type deals as well, which I think is good. Anna, nice of you to join us. Thank you for joining. I'm always a fan of Anna Diaz. She's always been a fan of mine when I'm ever on Captain Jack's show. So Anna, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah. So like I said, I was looking more for sexy picking, and there was still one guy out there in the fifth round that I wanted, and Zach Kuntz that was still hanging out there that nobody drafted, that they didn't pick up. So then we get to the sixth round, we get a guy by the name of Scott Matlock from Boise State. Now, the wave about Scott Matlock is that outside of his very serious and I'm going to take your soul's demeanor. That's what his interview said when he got drafted. I'm going out here to claim souls, is what he said. But his claim to fame is that he's a former tight end that converted to D lineman. Now, pretty nasty D lineman for 308 pounds, right? Runs a 4.9 40 at 308, and he plays fullback. He plays fullback and tight end on goal line. So he's caught several passes in his Boise State career. So that's a gadget weapon for Kellen Moore. So I think that was the rationale. It kind of fills a two-pronged need for you. You get a third down or goal line fullback, and you get a tight end, and you get a guy that can help run stop.
Looks like that. What's his name on the Ricard on the Ravens?
Right. Yeah, Ricard. Yep. Same deal. So yeah. So I get the rationale, but again, like I said, I was still thinking more offense and addressing the tight end spot, but they didn't do it. So in the last pick, which that's the most
versatility, though.
It is. So I completely listen.
That is legit versatility. Like,
if he
hey guys,
out,
we need a fullback. Like, so for example, you now no longer need to have a roster spot for a fullback on your roster, because
I think a lot of teams do.
Yeah, I think bigger tight end, something like that.
No, but the point is, he can be a special teams guy / depth D-line guy and cover all of the positions. Yeah, which is, I mean,
and then to get that in the sixth round, that's good.
No, that's huge.
That's good.
That's huge.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I'm okay with the pick. Like I said, me drafting out again, I wanted another weapon for Herbert for long term. A guy that you can get for 4 years. But yet again, I still, it's like I don't agree with it, but I understand. It's one of those deals, right? So, and in the seventh round, and this pick, ironically enough, the seventh round pick got the most scrutiny out of everything, which I didn't understand at all. I didn't. They picked up Max Duggan from TCU, the quarterback, who just went to the national title game, coming back from. I did call it. I'm glad you said that, because I called it.
Andrew from Bolt Bros. He called it. He called it before it was even. He called it like way early too. Right. He called it like way back.
Yeah, I mocked him in seventh round like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the pick, and because it's one of those things where it's not a threat to Herbert, obviously, but it's insurance policy for Herbert, because we all know at this point, I still don't understand the idea outside of knowing the system of why you would re-sign Easton Stick, because Easton Stick hasn't been a productive backup for anybody at any time and anywhere. Exactly. My name is Star-Lord. Who? That's how you feel, right? So I get it. I mean, because like I said, you got to me, for my money, Max Duggan is a gamer. He's a gamer. He has grit. A guy came back from a cancer diagnosis to go all the way to the national title game. That's a hell of a story. So he's a humble guy. He's a runner. He runs 4.5. So you like getting an athletic backup quarterback that actually can be productive and take some snaps for Herbert if you need to.
I got a question for you, Coach.
I'm fine with the pick all together. Go ahead.
Do you think that they might use him in like
the type of thing like Mariota?
Yeah, like a Mariota role, or a Sean Payton used that other dude that I can't.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, if you can find a coach that loves you like a Taysom Hill, you're doing
hello.
well.
Hello.
Because, man, you're getting
paid.
I'm willing to bet Sean Payton called the Saints about Taysom Hill at some point.
And he got Troutman instead.
Yeah, right. You say
something tells me that Taysom Hill has got a wicked good weed hookup for Sean Payton.
Not a weed hookup.
Because, I mean...
He probably did call, and they were like, Sean, he has $40 million left. We can't afford that. Fine, I'll take Troutman. Do it.
Can't do it. So, yeah. So, I understand the pick. Like, people were hating on it. They were talking about conspiracy theories and this, that, and the third. I'm like, look, he's there for insurance.
Herbert's on his way out, man.
Yeah, right.
Like Johnson and Davis, you got Duggan's whole.
So we will bring the whole TCU team. We're the Los Angeles Horned Frogs now. Is that what we are now?
Let's go.
Yes. Yes. Coach, the short answer to that question is yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So yeah. I like the pick. I think out of all the things I had, somewhat of an issue with, I don't have an issue with the Max Duggan pick at all. And not just because I was right about it. It's the simple fact that it was a need for us, and I think we needed a backup quarterback, which is why I kept mocking a backup quarterback in the later rounds, because I felt like we needed one. Because if Herbert goes down for a game or a snap, or it's not chaos when you try to figure out who's going to run the offense, and he's coming in fresh with Kellen Moore from day one, ground zero, OTAs, mini camps, camp, everything. I like it. I'm fine with it at all.
Sharif, I have to agree. I mean, the Chargers are quickly becoming basically a merger of multiple years of TCU teams.
First it was Notre Dame, now it's TCU. We were from drafting Notre Dame players to drafting TCU players. That's how it is.
Coach, I have your new name. Are you ready?
You drafted the TCU player.
I know, right? The creme de la creme, right? Yeah.
The Fighting Hornets.
The Fighting Hornets? Huh?
Well,
Hornets?
Well, Hornet. Isn't that TCU, the Hornets?
Horned Frogs.
They're the Horned Frogs.
Horned Frogs.
I'm sorry, I can't bring myself to call Horny Frogs any kind of a team. So,
they're the Charge.
I have a bit of an issue with that.
The Electric Frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, man, I think that it was an interesting draft, a draft I wouldn't have necessarily done for myself, but I understand the value in most of what they did. I think these guys can all be productive in certain facets. We're not talking, I'm not sitting up here and going to call anybody an all-pro yet. I'm not going to be that hyperbolic, right? But I think that it's a lot of value, and I think they picked up people that can contribute here, now, and down the road. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Texas Christian Horned Frogs. That's it. That's it. So yeah. So if I had to give it a grade, I would say C+. C+.
See, I feel that Coach and I are living in more of a reality when it comes to our draft classes. I think that.
What?
Yes.
I said solid B+, man. I wasn't smoking anything on that.
Yeah, but my issue right now with where the AFC West is that we came into last season as a collective group where we expected dare I say, 2 or 3 of us to make it to the playoffs. And we ended up with.
We even argued whether or not the whole division can make it. Remember that?
Well, I mean, there was a point where like the whole division could have done something, right?
Right.
And my point is, looking back at our teams and how we performed last season, there was one team that did the thing, and then every other team basically crapped the bed.
Oh, we made the playoffs, but we crapped the bed in the playoffs. We at least made the playoffs.
Sure. So
playoffs.
Yeah, but let's talk about that, Coach.
Playoffs.
But in my opinion, I mean, you guys made the playoffs because you have a legit quarterback. I mean, Herbert, I don't care who you are in the division, he is legit.
I remember you said that.
Like, he is legit. But the problem is that your strength and conditioning coach, thankfully, you took him behind the barn and shot him.
Yeah, he's gone. We got rid of him.
Yeah,
He's gone.
But at the end of the day, you guys have had such an injury history that, you know.
Yeah,
I tell you, Hooker in Detroit though is just as good. So.
Yeah, 8 Mile hookers.
Yeah, it's a different kind of hooker, but
right.
Look, you have 8 Mile hookers, and let's not forget that it's like, basically, a hooker in the back of a car is very fitting.
With.
There you go.
Like, a hooker in the back of a car is very fitting. It's called Motor City for a reason.
Motorboat City. Motorboat City.
Yeah.
Motorboat City. There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, if you got those, you're gonna be talking like the sisters. I can burn and doing the neutron dance. Hey man, you can't get better than this. Look at that. That's a federal tax there on the kid. Looking for all the kid. You can't get no better than this.
I agree.
Cigarette.
Yes, okay. I know. Now the question I have for Raiders 07 is Hooker going to have a jersey on the front of a Ford or a Chrysler or a Dodge?
That's a good question. I guess
Ford
depending on what side
right?
of town you're on. Depending on what side of town you're on. I think that's
Ford Field, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Ford Field. You're right. It is Ford Field. So if you go to a game, it's got to be a Ford.
That's right. Now, the funny part is that Hooker will always be in the back.
True.
Right? Because it's always the back seat that's always going to get the action. So I think that's going to be very appropriate. So you have a very well-versed Detroit Lions fan will put a Ford logo on the front and then a Hooker on the back.
What's wrong with that?
Because the Hooker's always in the back seat. But anyways,
I have no problem with the Hooker in the back.
No, I think nobody does. I don't think anybody does. I think we're all in lockstep with that one, buddy. But overall, man, I think this promising and positive energy for everybody's team. I think that we've all got better in regards to the draft. I think we have some things that we need to clean up. Obviously, be interesting to see if this last round of free agents, what happens with that. Clearly, the Chiefs picked up a guy. The Ravens picked up Rocky Scene today. So some guys still out there that can be had that fill a 1-year deal type of role for certain teams. So we'll see. Maybe the Broncos will pick up an interior O-lineman that will be a kind of a diamond in the rough for them and help out that O-line, and then we're off and running. Because I think, to be honest with you, I think the Broncos are just that far away. Like if they shore up their O-line, got all the weapons on the outside, you got Dolchich, Arbado and company at tight end. The defense is coming up. I think if Nick Bonito rounds out, you have a dual edge threat. Drew Sanders in the middle. The Riley Moss and company in the secondary. Yeah. Of course, with those safeties that I love, Justin Simmons. Although that's never his favorite person, I love him. But yeah, look at him grit. Look at him. There you go. It's gnarly that day, right? But yeah. I think overall, that if you shore up that particular aspect of it, you'll be fine. I wonder what the Raiders are going to do. I think they still got some questions on the O-line.
Coach,
at least one position.
I want to say something about Simmons, though.
What's that?
Is Simmons' issue is closing speed.
Okay.
Now, we have an interesting thing, and that is we've changed our defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And so we went with 2 coordinators that basically came out of a similar mold.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Vic Fangio, who was literally an OG and frankly has fielded some of the best defenses in recent NFL history And I don't think you can even argue that it might not even be close. Okay. And so you have Fangio with his defenses that have been absolutely spectacular. Because, I mean, the Broncos defense, I don't know if you remember this from like a couple of years ago when Fangio was our head coach. That defense that he fielded, we had almost our entire defensive starting core that was injured. And we were still top 5.
Okay.
Like that is ridiculous to be in that position. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos now, that's Vance Joseph. He comes from a different. He doesn't come from the same pedigree as an Evero or a Vic Fangio. He has a slightly different defensive mentality. So what's going to be very interesting is to see if Vance Joseph intends to continue the Vic Fangio style of defense, or if he intends to kind of modify that defense slightly to be something different. And the reason why I say that is my issue with Justin Simmons is he's not an equal opportunist. He is not a guy that is speed and size as an equal blend. He is kind of a guy that is wicked smart, and you cannot take that away from him. He is very sharp, but he does not have the athleticism to close on very athletic guys. And he also takes an issue or has an issue with regards to that type of stuff. So I think what our problem is going to be is if we don't change, then Simmons will be exposed in certain plays, in certain scenarios. That's my issue with Simmons. And I do believe our new safety might be an interesting complement to that, but I think he's being moved to linebacker anyway, so I don't think it matters.
Okay. All right, quick 30-second round of room before we wrap up. One need that you feel like your team still has after the draft. Cap, who you got?
I was going to say, minus the fact that we got some behemoths in undrafted free agents, which I put up on the screen. A true guard, because those guys are big tackle guys. We need a guard. That's the one still need. We need a guard.
Okay. Alex, what you got?
Yeah, so biggest need still with the Chiefs is interior D-line. They took that Coburn 6th round, but outside of that, currently don't have any interior D linemen that are under contract after this season. And, so I think that's something that's definitely going to be addressed further, whether it be in this free agency or, I think the lack of filling up interior means that they are pretty confident they're going to extend Chris Jones. So that's at least a good sign, but I expect them to sign at least one more veteran guy that has an interior presence.
Awesome. Richard, what you got?
One, I don't think the Raiders need a new head coach. I just think you need to be somewhat patient because I think he's got a plan. You need to figure that out. Two, for the Denver Broncos, we need an offensive center. And if I'm going to give a B to the A, which is offensive center number 1 or A, and number 2, we need interior defensive line help. We need to bolster that. I'd love to see Shelby Harris back to fill my B role, which is the interior of the defensive line. Over to you, Coach.
Awesome. I think we need a safety. I think we need one more safety to fill out to help out Derwin James on the back end of our defense. And I'm targeting Josh Johnson as being that one guy.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think him, Alola Gilman, and Josh Johnson will be a great complement in the safety room that will give us a lot of versatility to run the defense that Staley wants to run. Assuming J.C. Jackson comes back healthy.
I answered, Jack. I answered. We did.
All right, so
I don't
gentlemen,
think the rest of us answered.
Yes, indeed. Gentlemen, great show. I think we're all pretty happy with our draft, and we're not completely pissed off at our front office at this moment, so we can, sing happy, joy thoughts forever. But until next week, where the West Side is the best side, I am Coach Defense, Rich A, Captain Jack Rackham, and the real Alex Givens. We will be back next week with more content. Until next week, we'll see you when we see ya. Peace.
Yeah! Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.